Hi guys, it's Chantel, and today I'm here to do the middle grade book tag. This tag was created by Amanda from the Curly Reader earlier this month, and because I just joined BookTube like 2-3 months ago, I was not expecting to do this tag at all. I thought I would save it and do it next year, but I was tagged by Mary from Happily Ever Esh and Tia from Tia and All the Books, so here I am to do the tag. Now there are a couple different questions that I will be answering and sharing all sorts of middle grade books with you. The first one is, what was the last middle grade book you read? Now I'm currently reading a bunch of them, but the last one that I finished was The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell. This is book 1 in the Land of Stories series, and I share a little bit about it in my reading vlogs from last week and the one that will be coming out from this week. And overall, I really enjoyed the story. There were a few different things in it that I wasn't a huge fan of, but in the story we follow a boy and girl twins who find out that they can kind of fall into a fairy tale, and it's kind of just like the adventures they go on. My daughter loves fantasy, so one of my goals is to proofread a lot of fantasy books for her, and I do think that she would really enjoy this book. The next question is, what is a middle grade book someone read to you as a child? And I thought of 3 books for this. One that my grade 3 teacher read to me, one that my grade 4 teacher read, and one that my grade 5 teacher read. So the first one is actually, I don't have a copy of it, and all I remember is the title of it. It was Jacob Tutu and the Dragon, something like that. I don't remember anything about the story, but I remember my teacher, Mrs. Mitchell, sitting in her chair after lunch each day and reading us a chapter of that book. So that's like the very first one that sticks out to me. After that, in grade 4, our teacher read From the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. This is one that I thought of a lot. Now, I'm not like a go against the rules kind of person, but I do kind of I tend to think of like ways to kind of break the rules and situations where a person can be conned, even though I would never do these things. But as a child, I loved thinking about these kids that would sneak into the bathroom of, where was it? The Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and they hid in the bathroom and they lived in the museum for, I don't know how long, a couple days, weeks, I don't remember. But I just loved, thinking about how they pulled that off. And yeah, that's just how my mind works. And then in grade 5, we read Bridge to Terabithia. Now this one is a tearjerker, and I don't know why it stuck with me so much, other than maybe just like the emotional pull. And I've watched the movie since then, but haven't reread the book and would love to reread it sometime. The next question is, what was your favorite book as a child? Now, like almost everyone else who has done this tag so far, The Babysitter's Club was by far the most read books that I read. I would sneak them everywhere I went, and my parents took my books away because I just wouldn't stop reading them. And then in addition to that, I also do remember spending quite a bit of time reading the Bobbsey twins. My book here doesn't have a dust jacket, and if I remember correctly, this one follows 2 sets of twins, like they're siblings, and there are 2 different sets of twins, and I haven't read it since like middle grade years, so I don't remember it at all. But yeah, those 2 series were definitely a big part of my childhood. The next question is, what is your favorite middle grade book as an adult? And as an adult, I love middle grade books, and it's really hard to pick just one. I'm smart, just one, so I'm gonna pick 2. That's where the 2 came in. I'm, like a lot of people, also going to pick Echo. It's like a World War II historical fiction with a little bit of fantasy elements in it, and if you listen to the audiobook, it's just amazing. So that is a definite one for that answer. And then my other one is the Wingfeather Saga. My family is currently listening to this series, and we are on book 4, which is the final book, and we are all just loving it. We follow 3 siblings, Janner, Tink, and Lily, and yeah, they just kind of live in a world where there are a lot of bad creatures and things happen, lots of bad things happen, but they still have hope. And the hope is one of the big things that I love about this series. The next question is, who is one of your favorite middle grade authors? Now, I have a lot, but I don't know if there's any author where I've like read all their works. But one of my favorites is definitely Sharon Creech. I read Heartbeat earlier this month. It is a free verse novel where we follow a 12-year-old girl, and I loved it. I also love her Love That Dog and Hate That Cat books. These are also free verse novels, And I have read a couple more of her books and have a couple more on my list of ones I want to read. But so far, I think she's the one that I've read the most of and given all her books like 4 or 5 stars. So I think she would probably be my highest rated middle grade author. Now, as for what book should be required middle grade reading in school, I had a hard time thinking about this question. Because we homeschool, I feel like my answer for homeschooling would be different than for school. But if kids are in school, I do think that Wonder is a very good book that would be excellent for required reading, because a big theme in here is kindness and being kind to others, especially those who are different from yourself. And I think, middle school is a hard season for kids, and they are not always kind to each other. So I think this book helps them to, realize that people can be different and still be great people, and you should be friends with people like that. The next question is, what is your favorite middle grade book cover? Now, I didn't have like one book that I was like, this book cover is amazing. And maybe that's just because too, I was just looking at the shelves that I have. But I do have quite a few that I really like. So let's just be quick here. First of all, I like the new Wing Feather books. So book 1 and book 2 have currently been re-released with new covers. And then 3 and 4 are gonna be later in the fall. I love these illustrations. Then a book that I haven't read yet that I think is beautiful is The Doll Maker of Krakow. I just love that illustration as well. And then I like Winter House, and I appreciate the extra thought that went into this dust jacket because it has cutouts. And next, I also really like Snow and Rose. I really appreciate this author, Emily Winfield Martin. I appreciate her writing and her illustrations. And I haven't actually read this book yet, but her children's books have been amazing. Now the last little bit is the Tundra Books covers. So these are L.M. Montgomery books. I have Emily of New Moon, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of Green Gables, The Golden Road, The Story Girl, and then I have a couple more that I haven't read yet. But I love the illustrations on these covers as well. And then the last question is, what is your favorite book to screen adaptation? And I just, like all these answers, I pretty much can't just pick one book, so I have 2. I have The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This book is phenomenal, and I feel like they did a really good job with the movie. And then my other one is A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This one, now there are, I think, a couple different variations of the movie, but my personal favorite is the 1995 version. It does have a different ending than the book, and to be honest, this is like one of the few times where I actually prefer the movie. So yeah, that was a lot of books. And I have no idea who has done this tag now. We're getting to be like the end of March. But if there is anyone that would like to do the tag, feel free to. Thanks for hanging out with me and all my middle grade books.